I'm Wyatt Cash, Vice President for Content Strategy at FedScoop, and we're here at the ACT-IACT Executive Leadership Conference in Williamsburg, and joining me in this session is Colonel Bobby Saxon. Bobby is the Program Director for Enterprise Management Decision Support and for the U.S. Army, correct? And appreciate your coming by and sharing
to be here,
a little
Ryan.
of what you've been hearing at the conference. We've been kind of focusing in on the themes of emerging technologies, innovation, and a little bit of security as well. And just wondering, first off, kind of some of the things that you heard and or that you're working on that you shared that relate to how we're using emerging technologies, either sensors, so-called Internet of Things,
Right.
but more broadly than that, but big data analytics, some of the other technologies that are really changing how agencies, or in your case, the Department of Army, is doing things.
Well, emerging technologies and or innovation, depending on how you spin the terms there, it really depends on your organization. In our particular organization, we're very large. A lot of things are in place that take a long time to kind of move them from point A to point B. But what we have latched onto is the desire and the ability to be able to take more advantage of our data. The big data wave that came through over the last few years has got everyone excited about what is the art of the possible. The tools that are available nowadays. When I started on my program, the EMDS program, 5 years ago, the tools that were available then compared to the tools that are available now were archaic compared to the agile ability to take advantage of these tools. And so we're excited about going out and grabbing all of this data and bringing it into one place, mainly focused on being able to use this evolving technology to help support senior leader decision making. So can we bring data in quickly in a timely manner? Can we present it in such a way that it is much more understandable? And as a result of that easier access and that easier way to understand it, can we create some discovery learning that helps support senior leaders in their decision making?
Is there an example of kind of what you're able to do today that you couldn't do 2 years ago, for example?
Well, and primarily around the area of analytics.
Okay.
5 years ago, when I joined this program, we were very dashboard, business intelligence focused. So go grab the data, simply put it on the screen, visualize it, and let who's ever sitting there, the analyst, let them kind of figure it out after that. Now what we've been able to do is kind of give them some of the so what piece of it. So not just here's a bunch of rows and columns of data that's been visualized. Not only have we visualized that, but we've looked across the spectrum, across, in our case, multiple functional areas. So we've looked at people, we've looked at equipment, we've looked at readiness, we've looked at installations and training, and brought all that together more holistically and applied that analytic view to help to basically give our senior leaders and really their support staff the ability to spend more time making well-informed decisions as opposed to more time just gathering data and trying to understand it.
Let's talk next about budgets and funding challenges, and I know the Department of Defense has had more than its share. In light of these emerging technologies and new ways of trying to develop technology for your senior leadership and the warfighters, how are you managing in that sort of tight environment? How are you setting your priorities?
Well, one of the things that we have done is we have aggressively embraced commercial off-the-shelf technology. By embracing this COTS software, it allows us to get much closer to an end product day one of delivery. With the limited funds that we have then after that, we use that to do the tweaks and the modifications that we need to do to the software and deliver that quickly. It's a lot less expensive. It's also, because of the nature of how the acquisition community works, it's a different type of money. So we can use operations, O&M money, in order to get some of that accomplished as opposed to R&D money.
Tell me a little about some of the projects that you're working on currently that you're excited about.
Well, there's two things I'm excited about right now. One is that it's to go past the analytics and really into the predictive and the prescriptive analytics. So Now that we understand this data better, what can that data tell us about the future? And now that that data has told us something about the future, can we make changes to impact what the future will look like? Now, we've got a lot of work left to do in that area, but if you look in the commercial sector now, predictive and prescriptive analytics are being used every day in almost every walk of life out there. Your car goes in for a service based on predictive analytics. At 60,000 miles, if you do these types of things, the stuff won't break at 70 and 75,000 miles. There's a lot of predictive analytics that goes into that. When you go into a web browser and you search for something, then later on you go back somewhere else and suddenly all these advertisements are popping up. Again, predictive and prescriptive analytics. So we believe that there's things that we can do in that area that will help our senior leaders look primarily at the readiness of the Army. How to, not only do we have enough people and enough equipment and we're doing enough training, but how is that impacting it? Is our force truly ready to go? And is it ready to go 6 months from now, 12 months from now, 18 months from now? And if we pull some levers, how can we raise that or lower that, or save money or invest more money in order to have a more secure posture for the nation? Secondly, there is a realization inside of the DoD, and especially inside of the Army, that we brought a lot of systems together during the war effort, the primary war effort, from 2001 through current day. And a lot of these systems don't have long-term acquisition plans in place. So we used money to solve a tactical problem, and as a result of solving that tactical problem, it solved the immediate problem, but we don't have a master plan in place to carry us out through future years. And some of these systems that we have built are systems that we really realize now we just can't run the Army without. So we're going through right now and bringing those together in different categories, and I'm specifically working on one around the global force management. So the systems that allow the Army to manage its forces globally from a command and control point of view. We've got to go out and we've gone out, we've identified those systems, but now put them on the proper acquisition path going forward. And we've worked with the senior leaders inside of the Army acquisition community to identify these. But we're just a small portion of the larger group of systems that are out there. So we're helping the Army acquisition community set the path forward, and how do you deal with these systems that came to life in a crisis, not necessarily following all the exact perfect acquisition steps, but now that we have them here, we don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. What we want to say is, hey, these are really important, and how do we put them on a solid path going forward?
That sounds great. Well, wish you luck with that. Bobby, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate that, and appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you very much.
I'm Wyatt Cash with FedScoop, and for more coverage, tune into fedscoop.com. Thanks for being with us.